video may contain content parents may find unsuitable for children. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everybody, it's Hunger again. Welcome to another weekly podcast stream. Sorry I'm a little late. I would have been here a bit earlier, but I got a little caught up watching some stream replay from Vermin Supreme that Caps posted. You know, sometimes I just like to kind of see what my friends are watching. Anyway, so he's a character though at Vermin Supreme. You know, excellent political person. Completely unashamed as he admits that there is absolutely no way any of his campaign promises will ever be fulfilled. Alright, so let's just take a look here. Okay. Like I said, I honestly think it's really admirable. Like, he's like, yeah, there is absolutely no way in Hades any of this is ever getting done. You know, which, like I said, it's more than most politicians will do for you. They'll be like, I will absolutely do this. And it's like, you're going to need some help from Congress on that one, Chief. I don't know if you're going to be able to do this. And I was like, no, it's absolutely getting done. Yeah, no, you know. Meanwhile, he's like, I want to give everybody a pony, but it's never going to happen. Hi, Caps. Nah. Yeah. I watched the first part of it, but I didn't get to the part where he mentioned you. I'm sorry. Clip it and use it for something. Yes. Let's make a channel intro out of it. Yeah. This Caps is popping off. Caps is always popping off. Let's get some pink terracotta out. Let's do that. I think that's a good idea, right? Well, that's not bad. Not bad. Okay. Let's go get some fleshy flesh color. Oh, yeah, yeah. Mabe Village. You know, teleporters. Oh, the house interiors, yeah. So, I was thinking about it. Like, and what if the link from Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom is the same link from Link's Awakening? You know,
This down. Here we go.
like
Sorry.
that'd be
Go ahead.
mental. Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find any of the bigger marked shinies from the event. I got a rare marked Magby, so there's that at least.
Man. Tragic.
Anyways. Why is this?
Yeah. The only question is, at what point in the timeline do you stick that, you know?
Okay.
Because it could have been... It could have been before he woke up from his 100-year nap, you know? Like, he was asleep for 100 years. Maybe he was dreaming about the windfish, you know what I'm saying?
Perhaps.
I don't know. It's difficult to say, but I'm just saying they put all these references to Link to the Past in Tears. So it's like, or not Link to the Past, Link's Awakening. Excuse me. In Link's Awakening, they put all these references to, or in Tears, they put all these references to Link's Awakening in there. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah, certainly feels that way.
Because like he hums songs from other Zelda games, and one of the songs that he hums is the Ballad of the Windfish. It's like, where would he have heard that? You know?
Right.
It's like, you know, like makes you think a little bit, you know.
Fuck.
Yeah. What is this doing here? That's not supposed to be there. Must have. Oh wait. Oh, I see. So. Oh, that is way too low, isn't it? Yeah, this is too far down. I put the eye bits too low, I think. So that's correct. And that's correct. And then there's an eye bit right there. right there. And then like so. So that's where that's supposed to be. Huh. Hero of Awakening, huh? But yeah, like, I know there's tons of people who sit there, like, studying the crap out of Zelda games and trying to make a timeline for them that makes sense. Like, you know, oh, this is the same guy, and this is, you
Same
know, this
guy,
many
same-
hundreds of years later, you know, it's just...
Same guy, 800 years in the future.
I know Link to the Past Link, and Link Between Worlds Link are the same one, I think. It's true. It is true. But that's the same with Breath of the Wild Link, though. The very first thing he does is wake up. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now that I think of it, isn't that what happens at the beginning of Ocarina of Time, too?
I don't remember. I have not played that one.
Yeah. It's, choosing to ignore it. Yeah. He wakes up a lot, it turns out. It's almost like he does it every day or some crap. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. Doo-doo-doo. Okay, what am am I gonna do here? Oh, jeez. Alright. Let's see how this winds up looking. Okay, that's actually not terrible. It's pretty close to the color I want. Oh. Wow. That's pretty amazing. Okay. Well, yeah. I might have to go get that because I do like me some Link's Awakening. Just saying, it's very cool.
Right.
Let me just do this real quick. Let me do some. A little bit of backgrounding here. Thunder Plateau between Hyrule Castle and the stable. West of that stable in a canyon. Coliseum southwest of the castle. Oh. All 3 chests and caves, nice. A chest in a cave, what a clever place to hide it. No one would ever think to look in a cave for something treasury.
Because here's the
Especially not in a Zelda game of all things. Oh, okay, yeah. Nice. Okay.
Wow.
Hi.
Okay. The windfish egg, yeah.
Windfish egg.
Yeah, because I think the only two Zelda ones that I have are Zelda and Link from well, technically, I think I might have two Link amiibos, but anyway, I think they technically count as the same one. Like if you use them on like Smash and whatnot. So,
Amiibo reskin.
yeah, like it's like programming wise, I think it counts as the same amiibo,
Yeah.
but it's two different designs. Yeah, because the other one, like, so I have the Link from the Wind Waker with his, or not Wind Waker, the Breath of the Wild, with his little blue tunic and the ancient arrows. And then I think I also have the one, like, yeah, the Goron sword. Yeah, I don't think it's Ocarina of Time Link. It's Link in the normal green tunic, and I think it's from Smash. So, anyway. Yeah, I think it's the
Colors
Smash
weave
Link.
into a tunic of green.
I would just have to find the dang thing. I know I let CJ. I know I let Siege borrow it at some point. But it's I think he gave it back though. Anyway, just have to remember where I put it. Archer Oliver, hello. It's going all right.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's the... is where that particular background ends. I did not realize. Okay. Oh man, let's see. The spring anime season is shaping up to be absolutely stacked. Like, there's so much in there. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna be able to watch it all. Why are you talking about Zelda and Minecraft stream? Because it's a podcast stream. I talk about whatever the heck I want. While I do pixel art.
Yeah, that's the whole point of the stream.
Yeah, because basically we used to just call it a Minecraft stream, and then we would wind up talking about anything and everything but Minecraft.
Anything unrelated about Minecraft, yeah. It
and-
all started with Aqua.
And we would get a bunch of little kids coming in going, "Oh, let me play, I want to play, let me jump in." And all they want to do is just jump into the realm and grief everybody. So eventually, I think it was Rude who was like, "Just call it a podcast stream." So we did that, and now we don't get the little kids anymore.
Nobody asked to play it.
Yeah, like, you know, it's only every once in a while that somebody shows up, "Let me play," and then
also specifically the reason why we're talking about Link's Awakening is because I'm remaking all of Koholint Island off of the coast of one of like it's out there in the realm somewhere.
Yeah,
once
Caps
it's
is
finished,
building
I'm gonna-
Link's Awakening in Minecraft. So
Yeah, currently.
you know, just
Yeah,
a little
I'm
bit.
halfway through My Baby Village and all that.
So you know, there's that.
But yeah,
Yeah, you
I
know.
need to fucking play that game again. I'm starting to forget some of the songs.
I love that they make references to it in Tears of the Kingdom. That's what we were talking about earlier. That's how we got on Tears of the Kingdom, because we were talking about some of the references to Link's Awakening that are in that game. So
Pretty much.
If I had a nickel for every time Link wished upon a fish.
yeah. If I had a nickel for every time Link woke up in a video game. I'd have at least a few nickels.
Link is the second sleepiest protagonist behind Kirby.
Understandable.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you know, comparatively, a guy like Simon Belmont passes the job onto the next generation. Kind of weak sauce. You should just sleep it off between huge meals of chicken. keep going back in.
I mean, Link technically passes the job on to the next generation a lot too, you know?
I guess.
Because
I
it's
mean-
like different Links like every time, right?
Yeah, but it's sort of the same guy.
Did I mess that up? Is it, yeah.
Hmm.
I think I messed this up, hang on. Okay, yeah,
It's
no. so this is-
reincarnation.
What?
Yeah, it's not the, not
What
the same as
incarnation?
Simon Belmont's great fucking grandson. He told he's got to go kick old man Dracula in the nuts again.
Can you imagine growing up as a Belmont? Be like, when I was your age, I went to Dracula's castle and kicked him straight in the balls. When one day, when you're older, you'll do it too.
Yes.
You know, just like, sure, Grandpa, whatever. What are you, 90? Yep.
Yes, I am 90.
And every 100 years, that fucker Dracula comes back, and I'm too old to do anything about it. Take this vampire killer. It's a chain.
Might be a little worn out. Warm it back up first on some like weak ass skeletons and shit.
It's like, it's a chain, Grandpa. It's like, yeah, it's a chain that kills freaking vampires. That's why they call it a vampire killer, bitch.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Kills a lot more than that.
I know, right?
Should have just called it killer.
Yeah. Can't you kill don't you kill other stuff besides vampires with it, like skeletons and werewolves? It's like, yeah. So isn't it just killer then? I mean, or really, can't any chain do that?
I call it the monster killer then.
Right. Kids these
Like-
days.
I kind of like the soft implications there that it's more so the vampire killer because they used it to kill Dracula
Right.
rather than any
Right.
specific thing. Because who is it? Soma fucking kills.
You know, off the top of the head, off the top of your head, where the Goron sword is. Dang. Does it break just like everything else does, though?
Yeah,
'Cause that would kind of suck if you go through all this effort to get this, cool sword, and then it just breaks.
Yeah.
Can even kill
Breaks
death.
10 times quicker than any other sword it used to collect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, where is this damn thing?
I'm thinking of Simon Belmont with a boomerang and how different that would be.
Oh, you could buy replacements with Pose. Oh, okay. Oh, speaking of Pose, I need to go do the Poe trade-in thing. Shit. I forgot to do that last night. Because I think I have enough Pose to get that dark tunic thing.
Hunger's just a po' boy.
Here we go.
I'm just a Poe boy, nobody loves me. He's just a Poe boy from a Poe family.
Yes.
Oh, man. Nice.
Like Edward, Alexander, Grandpa.
Oh, man. Easy come, easy go. Will you get the pose? Nice.
Sometimes I wish I was a bunch of skeleton monsters, including
Yeah.
a bot.
Well, on the stream last night, for those that missed it, I found Midna's helmet.
Okay.
Yeah, I was shocked to see that.
Well, I mean, she doesn't fucking need it anymore, I guess.
It's a kick-ass piece of gear. Like it's got 7 defense and gloom resistance. Like,
I mean, it would be a waste not to wear that.
yeah, like right now, like when I don't have access to all the upgrades, it's pretty freaking badass. Like, it's literally the best headgear I can equip right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
So you can replace some rare items. Oh, every rare item. I see.
oh,
Oh,
do I like Pokemon? Absolutely, I love Pokemon.
Yes,
sorry,
same.
especially to eat. Mm.
Yeesh.
With the little fava beans and Chianti. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm a big fan of that new guy. What's his name? LeChunk.
Lechonk. Oh man, yeah. We made up at the store. We made Pokemon Easter baskets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we actually like. I think my sister made like 6 of them, and we sold like all but like 2. What's my favorite Pokemon? Incineroar.
Oh yeah.
My
Yeah,
favorite
boy.
is either
Metagross.
is either Magneton or Doublade.
The Blade.
Doublade.
Ninetales over here.
Ampharos. Ah, nice.
Ampharos is a good one.
Damn.
And
Got
for
that Fabio Mega Evolution.
Between the 4 of us, I realized
yeah, Doublade is my
most
second
like
favorite.
fans of like fire and steel types. Like
Uh-huh.
between the 4 of us. That's
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big fire guy.
You do know I'm the fire guy, right? uh,
I burn things is what I do.
yeah. But no, that battle at Pokemon Rusty where he's fighting Blaine, and Blaine's just like he throws a, I think he sends out like a Vanillish at the beginning. He's like you do know I'm the fire guy, right? Yeah.
Melted ice cream is great.
He's like, oh no, that ice cream cost me like $10. It was gelato. Oh man.
Oh god, speaking of
Yeah, and then he sent out Cubone and he's like, oh, there you go, that's a ground type, and fire is weak against ground. He's like, no, it's a bone type, and dogs have a weakness for bones.
Damn right.
What were you saying, Caps?
Oh, but I was gonna say, when I used to live out in Phoenix, they had this place that sold gelato, actually, and it was actually called the G Spot, or the Gelato.
Oh.
Yes. Oh,
They
dang.
had Gelato, too.
Dang.
Actually, would a gelato Vanillish be weaker because it's softer?
Yeah. So
His ability is soft serve.
So wait. Like that's such a meta name for a restaurant, the G Spot. Because be like, hey, have you heard about the G Spot? Yeah, it took me a while to find it, but then it was totally awesome. I just, I took my girlfriend to the G Spot, and now she wants to come over and over again. It's just.
I just remember it was in this plaza that had like a bunch of really like high-end fucking restaurants and stuff like.
Yeah.
But I forget like the names of some of the other places. I just remember that one specific.
Yeah. I mean, now that I found the G Spot, I just can't get my girlfriend to stop coming.
What is fancy dessert like nowadays?
What now?
Like, what's considered a fancy dessert?
Oh, fancy dessert. I don't know. It really depends on what your opinion of fancy is. You know, like.
I guess that's true.
I think a lot of people think something is fancy when it's exotic, like, you know, and they've never heard of it before. But like as soon as it becomes ubiquitous and most people have tried it, then it's like, it's not so fancy anymore. You know?
I don't know. I still think baklava is fancy if they fucking make it right.
If they make it right, oh.
Yeah, imagine that. It's really hard to layer wafers of thin fucking pastry together with honey and whatnot and nuts.
Imagine not being able to do that. Crazy. Couldn't be me.
Check stream team.
Check the stream team. What's happened?
Huh?
The gelato spot. Oh.
The gelato spot.
The G spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Man. There's too many letters in there.
I mean, we could. I mean.
I don't know.
It's great to travel because sometimes you find the greatest fucking places. Like you go out to Sedona, there's a place called World of Jerky.
Awesome.
That's all they fucking sell too. It is the greatest store on earth.
Oh no. I mean, I work at an anime stop, so it's like, you know. Hard to convince me that something else is the greatest store in the world. I'm just saying.
Okay, it is the greatest.
Beef jerky store or jerky store.
I can't even say that. Like, because that's too niche.
It's the greatest meat market. I don't.
Yes, it is the greatest. It is the greatest meat store.
Hang on.
It is the greatest specialty shop. I wouldn't say anime is much of a specialty shop anymore.
Yeah, no.
It's become way too mainstream. I mean, I'd say anime shops.
It still is a specialty. Like, not everybody. Like, most people that sell anime just sell it as like in like a little section somewhere. You know.
Yeah, you anime shops are putting the fucking comic book shops out of business.
Yeah, I mean.
As far as I know, there's kind of overlapping happening.
Some of them, yes. Some of them, yes.
Some of the comic book shops got wise and started doing gaming, and that's saving a lot of them. But the ones that aren't,
the ones that don't adapt, they're struggling.
Yeah, if they're not adapting and carrying the Japanese stuff, then they're struggling a lot. You know,
because American comics these days, I mean, don't get me wrong, you guys know me. I love my fucking DC comics, but at the same time, it's like I know for a fact that nobody buys the fucking things anymore. People still buy fucking manga though. Like, it's becoming more and more popular as the years go on. It's like,
it's easier to read than a lot of stuff.
Well, and the thing is,
aren't really adapting as fast.
Here's the reasoning, right? Because regardless of how stupid long some of these anime get, unless it's like one of those really episodic series, which there aren't many when it comes to anime, then there's always going to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like an actual plot. Whereas a lot of comic books just kind of go on until they get canceled. Like like they don't really have an end, like a narrative with an end goal in mind. They just keep going.
And some dumbass character that nobody cared about like 20 fucking years ago will get dug out of their fucking grave, dusted off, and put back up. Like, hey, remember this guy?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he sucked back then. Well, he's cool again.
Yeah. Yeah. So
again, huh?
But yeah, like I said, it's just when you talk about
that's what it is. They wait until everybody's forgotten about these guys to bring them back.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, if you look back at comic history, like, there's a
Like,
bunch of
everybody
characters.
forgot. Like, everybody forgot how shitty of a character Snowflame was until, like, he was started featuring in, like, random fucking things like Harley Quinn's book or like stuff like that. Like, it was like these side characters, like these random fucking, like, Kite Man.
Yeah.
everybody clamors for Kite Man now, but it was like it took a writer during the New 52 to make a whole ass fucking story arc about the character to make people actually genuinely fucking like Kite Man. Nobody gave a shit about Kite Man before that. Nobody gives a shit about him now. It was just that one moment in time when Kite Man was just relevant.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, is there are plenty of writers that will, like, look through, like, back issues and stuff and find a character and be like, oh my gosh, I want to do something with this guy, and...
Yeah.
There's so much potential in Kite Man,
Well, and like I said, it's not just that, but it's like, there's a bunch of stuff like that where, people will look at old stuff and go, this character maybe got a raw deal. Maybe I could do something different with him. Maybe I could, give them a slightly different backstory or give their image a facelift.
We have to bring back the Penny Plunderer.
The what?
We have to bring back the Penny Plunderer.
Oh, no.
You know why Batman has that giant-ass penny in the back, Dave?
Oh,
it wasn't because of Two-Face. It was because of a guy who stole fucking pennies.
Oh, no.
Like, that was his entire plot. That was the entire comic book, was this villain who's going around stealing fucking pennies. Lots of pennies. And then he had this, so Batman tried to trap him with a giant fucking penny, which, every villain is attracted to their one thing. So Batman has a giant fucking penny to draw this guy there, and the guy gets crushed by it.
Jeez.
Like, that's how the fucking issue ends.
Wow.
He died as he lived.
Penny, and it kills him.
He died as he lived, penny pinching. Or penny pinched, one might say. He
tried to pinch a penny, and he paid the price.
Penny pinched him. The penny pinched him.
Yeah.
That's really good for a joke villain, though.
Man.
But that's the sad part about it, this was during the fucking time when like every villain that they tried to introduce in Batman was just incredibly fucking stupid and one-off.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, there were a bunch of villains that they introduced in Batman the Animated Series that are still used today. Like, they're like, oh man, these villains were awesome. You know?
How did that show get so many good fucking villains? Like, how did they get so many villains right?
Like, that show was where Harley Quinn came from.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't exist before that show, and they were like, oh, yeah, we'll do that.
They tried to give Maxie Zeus some fucking agency. Like, like, of all the characters, like, he was in Batman, what was it, the Adam West Batman series. He was the dude who fucking hit his head and thought he was
Zeus.
He was Zeus.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, he was like, didn't he like work at a museum or as an archaeologist or some shit? And
I something to that nature.
Anyway, like he was involved with like history or some shit, and somehow, and he like, he just hit his head, and now he thinks he's a Greek fucking god.
Bolt of brilliance.
Yeah, right.
There's so many fucking
control freak. Yeah.
When Pikachu got hit really hard on the head, now he thinks he's a detective.
Oh yeah, there were a lot of characters that were made for Teen Titans because they couldn't get the rights to the actual characters.
Right? Yeah, they basically told them they gave them next to nothing, and so they had to make a whole bunch of their own characters just to have villains and
then ironically
plots,
all those characters wound up becoming actual Teen Titans characters because of it.
Right.
Like Red X. like Red X is now like he's basically now like part of Teen Titans canon. Like he actually is like in the stories.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not just him though. It's just a number of characters. Like Jinx doesn't look like the Jinx did in the comics did originally. Like she now more resembles the Teen Titans version.
Yeah, the Teen Titans TV show versions.
Purple one.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like I'm trying to think like what characters it was because there was. I'm trying to think because they did that for a while too because they've been doing that. They did that in as early back as like the Justice League and stuff too because they couldn't get the rights to Black Manta, and so they had what was his name, like Killer Ray or something like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
they couldn't get the rights to Kid Flash.
Yeah, like sometimes, like if they wanted to use a character but couldn't, they would just make like a similar analog sort of character, and then be like, "Yeah, we'll use that." Yeah. But yeah.
Here he is. Not.
I remember
this
them using Mossy Menos. Yeah.
But yeah, them not having Kid Flash and Teen Titans. I remember that being so fucking weird to me when I first saw it because I was like, wasn't Kid Flash like one of the founding members of the Teen Titans?
Right.
Like I do believe, if I remember, I forget where I was reading it, but they're saying that the upcoming Teen Titans live action movie that they're doing, Kid Flash actually is going to be on the team.
Yeah.
But in exchange, I don't think we're getting Cyborg.
Yeah, well, Cyborg, they've been put if they're doing it the DCU, then Cyborg's a Justice Leaguer in that, and not a Teen Titan.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends on continuity these days.
Yeah, like I said, if they're resetting the continuity, then they can do anything they want. But if they're keeping that same DCU continuity, then that's why they wouldn't use Cyborg. It's similar to like because when they had the Justice League versus Teen Titans animated movie, in that continuity, Cyborg is also a Justice Leaguer, but they kind of had him kind of like he was torn between teams, you know.
See, I actually thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool that because they couldn't afford keeping Beast Boy for Doom Patrol's budget, they just put Cyborg in his place. And so Doom Patrol had Cyborg, and I loved Doom Patrol. Yeah. Doom Patrol was really good. It was just that I said, they couldn't afford to have have Beast Boy in every episode and have him transform it. They couldn't afford that on their budget. So they just went ahead with a cheaper fucking alternative.
Billy Numerous.
I liked Billy Numerous. I thought that was such a cool fucking villain.
Doesn't he basically have the same power as Multiple Man from Marvel?
Yeah, he's basically Multiple Man as a villain. Well, I mean, Maddox is a villain sometimes too, but for the most part, I mean, yeah, he's Multiple Man.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh yeah. No, Billy Numerous does have a really thick Southern accent. He's got a drawl to him. Yeah.
And I've been working. I got off work right before you started streaming, and I got woke up. My fucking stepbrother showed up really fucking ass early this morning. My stepbrother's wild, and he can't fall back asleep after he shows up, so it's like I've been up since really early.
Oh, okay.
But I'm on I think I'm finishing this whole fucking 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. Like I usually don't drink pop and soft drinks and shit like that. But and I because you don't drink Monster, you boycott Monster Energy. Hashtag.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel
I kind of follow you with that, and
yeah.
I've kind of followed your example, and it's like, well, it also kind of makes sense because in a way, it's like I'm gonna get older, and as I get older, like I'm not gonna be able to drink those fucking things. It's gonna just make my heart explode eventually.
Right. So like
it's probably in my best
yeah.
interest to just stop drinking them altogether, anyways.
Right. So the thing with like I definitely don't
Oh yeah, I know
don't support
why
Monster
you
because of the way they keep suing gaming companies. I think that's bullshit and they need to
Like,
fucking
I-
stop.
Continually?
boycott
Yeah,
it.
like Monster Energy, their whole thing has been like they've been litigating against gaming company after gaming company trying to stop anybody else from using the word monster in the names of their stuff. Like they've been going after all kinds of gaming companies. They went to Japan and filed a motion with a court there to that literally affected over 100 different properties, trying to get them all to stop using the word monster. Even stuff like Pokemon and Digimon,
They're dumb or something.
that existed before Monster ever did.
The,
And
how do they make any case that
yeah,
that would
like
go
they don't
anywhere?
have any case. Like it's one of those things where
Yeah.
they get laughed out of court every time, but their goal doesn't like it seems like their goal is just to make these companies waste money and hopefully get them to cave in to their demands and stop using the name.
It's to eventually try to find somebody stupid enough to fall for it.
Yeah, it's absolute bullshit.
Because they had it. There was a game that was using I think they were calling it Gods and Monsters or something like that, and Monster sued them, and they changed the name to Immortals Phoenix Rising or something like that.
Oh
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah. Immortals, gods, and monsters. I recall the title being thrown around.
But yeah, like it's just something where I can't like even if I did still drink sodas and stuff all the time, I wouldn't go with Monster. But anyway, and I try to convince other people not to drink it either. But
They don't.
Is usually
There's other caffeine.
mine's usually coffee. Is if I but I do need the caffeine boost because I do unfortunately have an addiction to caffeine.
Right. So the way I always tell people, like with sodas, when it comes to caffeine and coffee and whatnot, caffeine is something that caffeine isn't what gives you the energy, right? Caffeine is what it does is it prevents you from getting more tired. The way caffeine interacts with your brain is caffeine wedges itself in the receptors in your brain that normally accept the chemical that your brain produces that makes you want to sleep. Okay,
yes,
so
that's why I drink to wake up, not because I use it to as a way to like I don't know how to put it. It's like I use it as a like I know it's not what's jerking me out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. But. So typically when you drink like sugary sodas with lots of caffeine in it, the boost of energy you get initially after drinking it comes from the sugar. It's not from the caffeine. Like a lot of people get confused and think it's the caffeine that's energizing them. It's the sugar, and the caffeine. So the sugar is going to jolt you awake, and then the caffeine is going to keep you there. But the thing is, the brain eventually starts to produce more of those receptors in response to your caffeine consumption. If you're blocking all those receptors all the time by drinking caffeine, it's just going to make more of those receptors because it wants to go to sleep. So if you drink caffeine every day, It's just basically eventually going to build up an immunity to it. It's not you're technically not becoming immune to it. It's just that your brain is growing enough receptors that you can't block them all with the same amount of caffeine, and you have to drink more of it in order to block the receptors the same way. So, basically, if you get to that point, you need what you can do is just stop drinking caffeine for a while, and the receptors, the extra receptors that your brain produced, will start to die off. So
I can't do the stop drinking.
Mm-hmm.
However, I look at it the same way on how I stopped drinking, like how I stopped drinking alcohol was, I eventually just I didn't cut it out cold turkey, because that's always the worst way to do something. But what I did was, eventually over time I just slowed down until I eventually I only needed, like, because I used to drink heavy. And when I tell people, like, I used to be an alcoholic, and it's like, I mean, I used to party, like I used to party hard, and I would and I needed to have so much alcohol every day, and that's how I knew I was an alcoholic, because it was like, if I didn't have so much of it, and so it was like, I would eventually, like, over time, I would drink less and less and less, until it was like all I needed was like a beer. And then eventually, like, that beer became like, oh, I only need like half a beer. And then until I eventually didn't need any of that. But it took so long to get to that point.
Right.
Like,
but yeah, it's something where, that is kind of how it works with addiction. And with addiction, addiction is something where you could get addicted to just about anything. A lot of people think addiction, it's just about willpower, you just got to will yourself through it. It's like,
it's not just about willpower.
Yeah, no, like,
I've seen so many drug addicts that
mm-hmm.
that it's not always just
right
them, trying to escape. It's also like, it's the drugs got them,
right. But yeah, so the thing with addiction is the way it works is, when you are doing something that you enjoy, your brain, it causes a chemical response in your brain, right?
Yes.
And your brain, when it finds something that you enjoy, and that that gives you that dopamine hit, or whatever is going on with it, the brain remembers that sensation. It goes, oh, this is the good stuff. We need to find a way to do this again. And so it starts creating pathways, like the shortest way to from point A to point B. How can I get this over and over again? And that's how it. Like, the shorter those pathways get in your brain, the more that's how addiction develops. Like, it's something where the you're at the height of addiction, that's all you think about is, how can I get this again? Like, your brain has just programmed itself to not think about anything else except where that next hit is coming from. That's like that's when you're like deep in addiction. But there are stages to it, and like I said, you could wean yourself off of it, and you can and sometimes some people could jump right in straight away from zero to addicted in no time. It's something where it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and they've done studies, and they found that people that have like really good emotional support networks at home are way less likely to suffer from addiction. People that have a lot of people around them that love them, and they receive a lot of daily affirmation of that and everything. Those people are much less susceptible to it. I'm not saying they're immune, but it's much less likely to come for them. And one of the things that those studies looked at was soldiers who during war were given like crack to keep them awake. You know,
Mm.
And because crack is considered to be like one of the most addictive drugs on the street. But like when the soldiers that went home, like 85% of these soldiers that went home never needed it again. You know, and it's because they went home to their families and they had a support network ready. But the ones that didn't, the ones that were maybe loners or whatnot, those guys ended up needing to have like rehab and all this other stuff, and they got into street crack and stuff like that. So, you know, so it's something where there's a lot that science still doesn't understand about addiction, and it's wrong to judge somebody for being addicted to something, and say, oh well, if you just had a little more willpower, because that's not necessarily true. It's something where addiction impacts people different, and sometimes different substances can addict differently in a single person. There might be somebody who's really resistant to being addicted to certain things, but then they try something else and it's like, oh, there we go. Like, you know because there's people who get addicted to weed, there's people who get addicted to porn, there's people who get addicted to jerking it to Twitch thoughts. Like, there's all kinds of people in this world, so there's going to be people that experience addiction in different ways, and like I said, it's good to be kind of supportive when these people are trying to get help, and they need that sort of attention, because having a stronger emotional support network is going to help them out in the long run. If somebody, like, it's one of those things where if an addict wants to get help, then turning your back on them is a terrible idea, because that's going to make it harder for them to quit. Now, if they are struggling with it and they don't want the help, it's going to be a lot harder to get them to stop. And and again, if you're in somebody's life like that, giving them ultimatums and threatening to leave their lives, unless they are a danger to you.
I just want to interject here real quick.
Yeah.
You cannot force somebody to go to rehab.
You can't. They're not. You're not going to force anybody.
They have to decide on their own accord.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. You cannot even tell them to go to rehab, because it will not click with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that they have to come. It has to be a decision that has to come naturally of their own accord. Like, they have to think for it for themselves.
Yeah, that's why they say that addicts have to hit rock bottom before they look for help, because a lot of the time that's how it works. But yeah, like, it's just, there's a lot of people who will come out and they'll try to give people in their lives that are addicts, they'll give them an ultimatum. Oh, well, it's them or me. It's the drugs or me, or whatever. And and like I said, you're really just destroying their support network, what little of it they have left, and it's going to push them deeper into addiction. And in some cases, that could help, because they'll hit that rock bottom a little faster and they'll learn and they'll want to fix it. But in other cases, it could wind up with an overdose that kills them, So, like, you really got to be careful. Like I said, you can't force another person to go to rehab for something, like, like Haps was saying, it's got to be something that comes from the heart. And it's something where, it makes sense to me, because, back in high school, right, when I was in high school, everybody used to go, oh, you should play football. You should play football because I'm huge. But it wasn't something I wanted to do. It was something other people thought would be cool for me to do. And when I tried out, it was like, it's hard work. playing football. It's not easy, and I didn't have the motivation at the time. So I was like, yeah, so I ended up quitting, and it's like, you know, it's something where, if I was,
why would you do that? Why would you put yourself through that to make other people happy
yeah,
that would do the same for you?
yeah, exactly.
It's
So, like I
not like
said,
it would.
it's
Wait,
just,
I'm sorry.
but yeah, like that's the thing. It wasn't something I really wanted to do. It's just something that other people said, "Oh, you should try this," and I was like, "Oh, why not?" And it wasn't. It was a lot of hard work. It wasn't. It wasn't as fun as I thought it was going to be. So, like I said, I bailed, and you know, do I wish I had spent my time better back then? Maybe, but I feel like a lot of those types of things that I did when I was younger, like doing professional wrestling and stuff like that. Like professional wrestling was something I really wanted to do, but ultimately, I think for me it was more of a learning experience. If I had known all the things about it uh, back then that I do now, maybe I wouldn't have done it. But I still think it was a fun experience, So, you know, but it definitely didn't. It definitely didn't pan out into a career the way I thought it was going to at the time,
I
because
understand.
at the lowest levels in professional wrestling, wrestlers are treated like dog shit. These indie organizations, not like not your like AEWs and your WWEs, but like the lower tier stuff. They'll tell younger guys, oh yeah, they're basically like YouTubers who try to pay artists an exposure. They
Ah,
they
yeah.
they basically will be like, oh, you're just doing this to get experience and get your name out there, and like you don't need money from us, ha ha ha. It's like, you know they don't care if you freaking snap your leg in half doing a show, or snap your neck or whatever. Like it's just so.
Or if you're paying more in expenses to get out to the venue than
Yeah,
they're paying you to actually be there.
yeah, exactly. Like you know, you know, like I was lucky. If I did a show to get $5 for gas, you know, like most of the time it was just like, oh, not that many people showed up today. Thanks for coming. Bye. Like see you next time. That
Hmm.
type of thing. So, you know, yeah, yeah, like it's,
Nice.
you know, but yeah, paying, yeah, but yeah, like anyway, it's just something where, uh, you know, but yeah, people uh, who commission artists and then once the work is done, go, oh well, yeah, I thought I could just pay you an exposure. That's such a scummy thing to do. It's like
Yeah.
like yes, I get it's rough being
Exposure isn't gonna pay my fucking bills.
yeah, exactly. I get it's rough being a small time YouTuber, but if you can't afford to pay an artist what they're worth, just use an AI art generator. Like they exist now. They're not perfect, but
They're not perfect, but
like it's
God
better than
forbid,
nothing.
just whip up MS Paint. That'll get the job done.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. But yeah, no, there's yeah, indie wrestling groups are not the greatest thing ever. You know, like I said, I still had a lot of fun, and even when I was working at a bar for like 15 years after that, there were still some nights where I was like, oh, maybe I should go back and try it again. But yeah, yeah, no, that's great, Nick. Uh, You know, when you commission an artist and then you pay them what you agreed to pay them for their work, that is absolutely wonderful. You know, because it helps them, and it's something where, you know, especially for artists that are still developing their styles, it, you know, being challenged to create things that they didn't think of themselves really helps them broaden their skills as an artist. So, you know, but yeah. Uh, anyway, let's see here.
We're down to one kitten remaining, Hunter.
What were we saying?
We're down to one kitten remaining.
One kitten remaining.
Out of this litter that we that our gray cat had recently.
Uh-huh.
Actually, it was
like, are you finding a home for the kittens, or are they just dying? Like,
I wouldn't be saying this if it were, you know, morbid.
Okay, no, like I was just saying, like, you know, like, you know, okay, so it's not like the Royal Rumble or anything. You're actually finding good homes for these kittens, and now you just have one left. Yeah. Okay, just making sure, because here's the thing. There was one of my coworkers at my job. There was a point where she found some kittens on her porch and decided that she was going to foster these kittens. And so she brought all 6 of them into work, and only 3 of them made it. So, like, because they had some sort of parasite or something when she picked them up. Yeah. And, yeah, three of them died. And then the other 3 lived, and 2 of them she adopted out, and the 3rd one she kept. so yeah. But yeah. All right. Thanks for stopping by, Siege.
Yeah, Siege.
But
right. Later, Siege.
Anyway. Oh yeah. I guess it is Sunday now, so happy Easter.
Yes, happy Easter.
Right. Yeah, speaking of bunnies, that reminds me of an old Easter story. So I learned to drive relatively late in life. Like I got my learner's permit at 16, but I never really took the driving test, and I didn't really want to drive a lot, because for me driving is often painful. Because I'm cramming myself behind the wheel of a car, and my knees get all scrunched up, you know, and it's hard for me to move my feet. So anyway, it's you know, my when I finally did learn to drive, the first car I ended up getting was a Cadillac, because it was big. You know, I literally bought it just because the interior was big and it was used. But anyway. But but anyway, so I used to get rides home from my coworkers when I was working up at the bar, right? And we were working the Saturday before Easter one year, and I got a ride home with one of my coworkers, and as we're heading home, you know, I had to warn him to watch out, because there was a bunny running across the road.
Oh my fucking god!
and so he hit the brakes, and the bunny got to the other side of the street, and I'm like, man, you almost ran over the Easter bunny. You know, so, but yeah. Oh man. But yeah, so it was fun. Yeah, it's just a little, you know, like, just the fact that it was a rabbit and it was Easter, it was like, okay, that's funny. You know. I'm like, he's hiding eggs. But yeah. Oh, jeez. Man. His name's Scooter. That's great. It reminds me of, I think it was Venezuela, right? So Venezuela had a a guy in charge of it for a long time who was very much a socialist leader, right? He was extremely popular with his people, and one of the reasons for this was he would just do these huge giveaways. I think he actually had like a game show thing going on where he would give people prizes and stuff. And it was a completely unsustainable economic model. Like, the only way that that model would have kept working would be if the price of oil just kept climbing and climbing and climbing and never dropped. You know, like, that was the only way that economy could sustain itself doing with the types of giveaways he was doing, right? So when he left power and the next guy, came along, the next guy is trying to like fix everything, but their economy's basically in the toilet, right?
Yeah.
And so they're having like food shortages and all this other stuff, and these people, like, they're blaming him for it. They're like, oh, it's his fault. And it's like, no, it's because the other guy before him really fucked everything up, and he just kind of inherited a shit show, So, but anyway, the guy who took over for him, his name is Maduro, and they they're they were calling the starvation that was going on. They called it the Maduro diet, But
Oh, God.
anyway, so as a measure to try and solve the food shortage, he did this giveaway where he was gifting bunnies to people. Like, he was giving them all rabbits, with the idea being that they would eat the rabbits. It's like these people aren't freaking butchers. Like, so they're just keeping them as pets and making more mouths to feed.
Oh, God.
So, like, it's like, if you wanted to solve the problem with rabbits, you should have been giving the rabbits to like farmers to make so they could farm, breed more of them, and then take them to the butcher and sell them, But instead he just gave like every family gets a rabbit, here you go, a rabbit in every pot. And they're just like, we will name him Scooter. They just made them into the family pet,
Or I
Yeah,
guess
exactly. That's the point. He's giving everybody live rabbits and being like, all right, eat that. It's like,
Or I guess the other alternative would be getting the bunnies and feeding them to snakes.
yeah, it's like, you dumbass. So yeah, it was just so yeah, it's just the best laid intentions just completely failing, just, oh my gosh. But yeah, these just, yeah, exactly. Like, it reminds me, there was a group, like one of those like charity groups or whatever, and they're trying to help the people in Africa. Oh, the people in Africa are starving, we got to help them. So they decided that in order to help these people, they were going to give them all fishing nets so they could fish. Well, there was only like one or two fishermen in the village, so they gave everybody in the village, like every household in the village, a fucking net. So everybody except the fishermen just sold their fucking nets to the fishermen.
Ah.
It's like, You know, because I know they were probably thinking, oh yeah, if we give them a fish, you feed them for a day, but if you teach them to fish, it's just like
They didn't teach them to
they didn't
fish
teach them; they
though.
just gave them nets. They're just like throw the
Sounds
net in the
like
water, it'll catch something. You know,
What the fuck?
so yeah, it's just you dumb fucks. So yeah, you know, maybe, just
What
maybe,
the fuck?
uh, you know, do a little more than just give people fishing nets. Like,
Like there's this web series I watched at one point. It was like unintended consequences, and it was like people trying to do charitable things
uh-huh,
and it just backfires on them like in the most horrendous fucking ways. And
right?
that sounds like one of those stories that would
Yeah.
be in that fucking series.
Well, that it's like that one show, the Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Like, it like basically the formula for that show was they'd pick like families would submit a video like about how down on their luck they were, and these people would show up with a in a tour bus, and they would send the family on a week's vacation somewhere, and during that week they would gather a bunch of volunteers together and rebuild their house. You know,
I want to
like
experience.
yeah, they would sometimes they would like knock the whole house down and rebuild it.
Oh,
Uh,
but
and
yeah, go on. I'll continue. I got a story from this,
but
but yeah, go on.
anyway, so yeah, that was a thing that they did, and these they and of course they would make a big deal about, oh, this is why we chose these people because their story is so sad and all this, they try to get the audience emotionally invested in the people that they're helping, and stuff like that. It's like, and it was good television, don't get me wrong, like it's not terrible television or anything. It was good TV, but the thing is, like, you started like what I think one of the reasons that people stopped watching is because after a while you started hearing like some horror stories about it. Oh, after this family got a makeover, they decided to, that their house was worth a lot more, so they couldn't pay the taxes on it, or
Yeah,
or after this family got a makeover, their house was worth a lot more, so they decided to sell it and start a business, and then the business failed, and now and now they're living in a trailer park again. Like we're just,
that was
just
that was
whatever
like
you know,
I was gonna say similarly. It's like remember Pimp My Ride?
yeah,
Like none of those fucking like most of those fucking cars ended up in fucking lots and shit. Like people got rid of them pretty fast because they were useless. Like half the time they didn't fucking run. They were saying like some of the features in them just were completely unused.
yeah,
Like and like sometimes like they wouldn't even use the original car. They would just find a similar car and just fucking use that one instead.
yeah,
Like but they were saying like the show was basically every time they fixed up or they pimped out a ride, like
uh-huh.
they were saying all they basically did was ended up making it worse every fucking time. Like
Oh man. But yeah, and Pimp My Ride was very, very much a similar show to Extreme Makeover Home Edition, but it's more like Extreme Makeover Car Edition. You know, like
Mhm.
they find somebody down on their luck, give their car the Cinderella treatment and be like, oh yeah, we did this to your car and it's totally cool now, and they're like, yay, so, you know, but
we put a we put a refrigerator in your or no, what was it? Like
eh,
I forget what it was. They put this one like sound system in this one dude's back of the thing and he was like he was dumbfounded because he would never even use it. He was like, why?
Right.
but Exhibit wanted it. Like that's why he put
Right.
it, or that's why it was in the vehicle, was because he wanted it, not because the guy who was
Right.
who owned the fucking car wanted the thing. And it's like, dude, you're supposed to at least know what your customers want.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it's just something where, you know, they would just, like I remember one of the cars they did, they put these blue lights on it, and it was like all like on the undercarriage and stuff, and I'm like, in some areas, blue lights on any civilian vehicle are illegal.
You're not allowed to have colored lights of in certain cities. You can't have colored lights
Yeah.
of any sort.
Yeah, like because they don't want you to be confused for an emergency vehicle, So it was just like, I feel like that could be problematic. Just a little bit,
Yeah,
little bit
yeah.
problematic, maybe. You know, you know.
All right, so I'm gonna take a 5-minute break.
All right,
I'll be right back.
the Wonka experience. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh man, I've been hearing some horror stories about that shit. People going on this Wonka experience that's supposed to be just like going to the chocolate factory, and it's like a warehouse with like one little corner with like couple people dressed as Oompa Loompas. It's like,
Yeah, it's horrifying.
the restaurant flipping shows and then Googling them because 90% they're permanently closed. Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
You know like those restaurant rescue shows where they the Oompa Loompa in the meth making station. Yeah, an Oompa Loompa with a meth lab. Yeah, it's just but yeah, like those old shows where like the restaurant's failing and then they get like a guy to come in and they change the menu, and it's like, oh, we're gonna make this work, and they go in and there's a bunch of yelling and drama and bullshit, and then
Don't forget that in those Kitchen Nightmares or whatever it was, that
Yeah.
show, Amy's Baking Company, the one that got world fucking famous for being like the most horrendous one of those restaurants. Keep in mind that restaurant got to be more fucking famous because Gordon Ramsay walked out of it. Like, they were so, and the two people who were in charge of the place, they were shitty people. Like, they were absolute fucking horrible human beings, and they capitalized off of that, and their behavior actually became worse because of that episode. Like, we actually somehow rewarded these dumb motherfuckers for their shitty behavior by allowing them to do worse.
Right.
We are stupid people.
Sometimes we do really, really stupid things. Like,
sorry, I just needed to jump in there with that because you started talking about those restaurant rescue things, and it's like, I remember fucking Amy's Baking Company. I lived in Scottsdale at the time.
yeah.
Stupid.
Oh man.
All right, but yeah, I'll be back.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's just all over the place. Jeez. They're making a horror movie out of it.
Jeez.
They'll make a horror movie out of anything, I'm fairly certain now.
Right.
Yeah, it's just, I wish I could be like, what a horror movie. That sounds unique. But no, it's just, they'll do anything at this point. They don't care.
Right.
Oh man, it's absolutely wild. I tell you, it's wild. Right. I mean, yeah. That story kind of lends itself to it, but you know, it's not public domain, so you'd have to kind of do like a parody type movie, you know? Actually, let me do this. Nope, not there. Alright, let me just grab that. That's too pink. Okay. Okay, that's not so bad. Alright.
The night one.
Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Poser.
That powerful Pablo Escobar. The freaking Cocaine Bear movie, I swear.
Okay, fair. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire mod in development.
Mm.
Huh. It's just one of those ones that changes the Pokemon 3D models. Like it changes their color and whatnot. Is it one of those? It adds post-legendary Pokemon to horde battles and suggests the stars on Route 101, and it's actually feasible.
2
I see.
Omega, 2 Ruby. Omega Ruby 2. Ruby harder.
Omega Rubier.
Omega Ruby, or oh my god, I love that series.
That implies the existence of an Omega Rubyist.
Yeah.
Make shiny hunting easier, I see.
Shiner.
Shiner.
Shiner Hunter.
Shin Hunter, as one would say. Nice. Starter hordes have a Poochyena thrown in.
Shiny in the starter horde, it's Puccina. Is that kind of a reference to the original games? Because when you're shiny hunting starters in the original games, you first throw the Pokemon out there when you're saving the professor, but there's an equal chance that the Poochyena can be shiny. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be what it is.
So you can and if you get the shiny Poochyena, then there's no way to catch it because because you don't have any Pokeballs, Yeah.
Yeah, then that would just be like tormenting.
So yeah, it's just torture at that point, like because you're basically forced to soft reset over a freaking shiny,
That would piss me off. That was the only shiny I ever found in the fucking game.
The nice, so powerful, salty. Uncatchable shiny Poochyena in the first encounter.
I would be so salty. I would just hack the fucking thing at that point.
Right.
Like, I wouldn't even feel bad about it.
Oh man.
My goal is to have the remainder of Mongol Village finished by the end of the stream. Just the outside. I can work on the interiors over the week, but I just kind of want to have like the basics. Like, I'm doing pretty good so far. I'm up to what is it? The quadruplets house. And then I got the fishing guy after that. And I think that's where I'm gonna cut it off at.
Yeah.
But I've got 1, 2, 3, I think 4 or 5 more teleporters I gotta make to individual rooms. And I don't even know what the fucking one is. I forgot what the place is underneath the chicken statue. Like the one that's like in the center of town that like what's her face is like singing next to.
Yeah.
Like I forget what's down there. I hope it's not a whole ass dungeon.
Right.
Like I kind of hope it's only like an 8x10 screen like all the rest of them.
Yep.
I'm not ready for dungeons yet. I'm gonna have to what I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna go down to like the lowest Y level in this same area and I'm just gonna stack them. I'm gonna stack all the fucking dungeons on top of each other.
Jeez.
like just build the dungeon down, or the first dungeon down at the lowest level, go up like 10 blocks or
Okay.
whatever, since it's a single floor, and then I do the second dungeon, and then just keep doing that as needed.
Aren't there multi-floor
Huh?
dungeons in that game though?
There's a few of them, but
Okay.
uh I have 120 uh blocks below where surface level's at to work with.
Uh-huh.
I think that should be enough. I mean, even if it's not, like, even if I need more space, I can easily get more space. That's just what's directly below the map that's here
Yeah.
right now. I'm just trying to make sure everything stays as hidden as possible, so that the only thing that you actually notice is the main map.
Yeah. Wouldn't be much of a 1-to-1 if you couldn't manage that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually this is actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, because I mean, yeah, the houses still kind of look a little small, and not much can be done about that. But that's what the teleporters are for.
All right.
I think it's just kind of cool, like walking through it without having like the screen, like the sliding transitions,
Oh yeah.
and actually seeing like the whole game. Like, it's kind of like you're just seeing the game in first person,
Yeah.
which is it's wholly unique. Like, that's so cool. Sorry, like, it's my favorite project because that's kind of what I wanted to do with Minecraft in the first place, was rebuild video game locations,
Hmm.
especially like a lot of the 2D ones that you don't ever get to see in 3D, or you don't ever get to see in like first person.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, damn, I can jump. I didn't mean to jump that far. I basically jumped from like the top of fucking, like, right outside of the library.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I jumped off the cliff, and I ended up like almost at the fucking beach.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you could jump like 8 fucking blocks at a time.
Wild.
I mean, you gotta angle it right, but let's see if I can do that again. Holy hell!
Yeah.
Oh, not as far that time, but
Ooh, you might as well just getting a straight pattern. You fucking fuck.
A house in a garden. My secret
yeah,
plan.
here,
All right,
finish
there
this
we
up.
go.
Stop fucking around and
Secret
work on.
elaborate plan. Oh man.
Oh,
Ugh.
Oh, did I really? Guess I gotta raise the elevation again. Do it right here. Oh, have you watched the new X-Men yet?
No, I haven't. I don't have Netflix or Hulu, or Disney Plus, or like the only streaming service I use is Crunchyroll. So,
Because I kind of wanted to talk about the latest episode because it
uh,
kind of upset me
oh
as
yeah,
a comic book fan.
right,
Because and I don't want to spoil it
right, yeah,
because it's I mean because it's got a it's I mean it's still a pretty significant episode as far as like plot goes.
hmm,
All I will say is that I did feel like the episode was incredibly rushed.
yeah,
Uh, like it felt like the story that they were trying. I mean, the story they're trying to tell should have been broke up in like a two-parter or something,
yeah,
but they had it go through in one episode, and it
mm,
didn't make sense for it to be a single episode.
I see,
So a lot of events end up getting like skipped over and shit, and
hmm,
it really upset me.
yeah,
Like it hurt me in my uh I don't know.
hurt you in
Like
the
that
comic
was
book
actually
feels.
because yeah, like because well the thing is like that was during the time uh I actually did read the X-Men comics during the 90s.
Mm,
Some of the first comics I actually owned uh were the Age of Apocalypse comics. And and so I got big into X-Men back in the day, and
mhm,
uh the storyline that they did was a major like the story that they did for this episode was a major story arc.
mhm.
And they cut it into one episode. It'd be
Wow.
like if they did the entire Phoenix saga in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they keep doing it in like a movie, and I feel like that's still not enough time. Like, because they've done like two different movies where they're like, here's the Dark Phoenix saga, or here's the entire Phoenix saga, and it's just like that's one movie is not enough to do this justice. Like, it's just, yeah,
But yeah, it's that's kind of what it felt like, and I was I don't know. It also made me realize that there are a lot of characters that uh, they just didn't bother giving any characterization to in the 90s show.
uh huh,
And so when they're getting brought into this one, you just pick up on it immediately. You're like for instance, it's like, wait a minute, this is the first time that is meeting this character or whatever.
yeah,
It's like because you don't realize they never interacted like ever interacted in the original show,
mhm,
or like like uh, I'm trying to say this without spoiling anything,
yeah,
or but it's like or like one character for instance like the villain uh like I mean Mr. Sinister. I can't just say not, he's still the same character he was in the 90s show,
yeah,
for better or worse.
yeah,
I'll just put it that way. But other than that, it's like it's still it has issues here and there.
Yeah.
Like they tried to make it seem like it still does seem more adult than it
Mm.
did back in the 90s show. Like it does feel like they tried to grow up with the fan base,
Yeah.
but at the same time it's still very Saturday morning cartoon. Everything gets neatly wrapped up
Yeah.
sort of problem episodes.
Hmm.
I don't really care for that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that gets fixed by the end of the season.
Yeah.
I still do suggest watching it though, if no for no other reason than to find an X-Men project where Wolverine isn't the fucking like focus.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is kind of refreshing to just have him in the background,
Right.
not as the main guy.
Yeah. Well, because that was really the show that put Wolverine on the map, pop culture wise. Because a lot of
It
people, unless
it
you were like
was.
really, really big comic fans, hadn't seen Wolverine in anything until that show, and you know, he's just this sawed-off shotgun of a character, you know, who, you know, like, and he had all the freaking coolest lines too, like when they were
and they
writing
could
that.
never let him and they could never let him swear, so he always had like these stupid insults like "you egg sucking son of a gun" and
Yeah,
shit like
but
that.
yeah, like the but they still managed to give him cool lines like that first Sentinel fight, like in like episode 1 or 2. He's like, "Hey, 10 Woodsmen, I'm sending you back to Oz in pieces." you
In pieces.
know, like, you know, it's just like, dang.
Like, and they got the original voice actor back for him,
Yeah,
so it still feels just as authentic as it did.
yeah.
Like what was it? Uh, they were like uh, I forget what it was. Uh, or somebody says to Wolverine, it's like you're not gonna cut this dude up. He's like it's not. He's like he's like I'm not assaulting them. It's weight loss.
Oh
like
no.
like shit like that.
It ain't murder, it's a weight loss regime. I gotta lose about 20 pounds of dead weight. Uh,
Yeesh.
it's amazing.
I wonder if they're gonna go about making Beast. Uh, see, it's funny that in the recent comics, like in the most recent comics, Beast is well for the past decade, I guess, or so. Beast has been a villain. Like Beast has been a
Huh.
straight up fucking villain. Like we're
Huh.
talking like genocidal, like
Huh.
evil, terrible fucking monster type villain.
Huh.
And they
But yeah,
have
in the
to
movies and stuff, they still kind of keep him as a hero most of the time. There was that
most of,
there was that one movie where he like teams up with Magneto because he's pissed that they killed Mystique. You know,
well no well here's the thing.
but
The reason why it's because in the past 5 years they've had during the Krakoa era. I mean, even before that, he was doing like sketchy shit, like pulling like his previous self from a previous or his self from a previous timeline to the present, like fucking up the timeline and shit like that. Like he's done a lot of sketchy shit over the years, and
uh-huh.
it was like, but it just culminated to this point where like he's like making clones of Wolverine, like mindless clones of Wolverine to be his like assassin.
Yeah.
like but like he became like a full on like villain in the series, and it was like when Marvel realized that they were rebooting the X-Men cartoon, they had to do a hard fucking reset with Beast, because
Mhm.
there is no redemption for Beast in the comics. Like he is irredeemable. It would be like, I don't want to make the comparison. It'd be like if like they tried to make Pol Pot into a superhero.
Who?
It's not Pol Pot,
Oh.
or one of the one name that he who shall not be monetized.
Yeah.
uh like that's literally Beast in the comics now. Like
Yeah.
he's that level of evil. And
Huh.
and what they had to do to get him back to the point where it's like, hey, we have, with X-Men 97 coming out, we need a heroic Beast. They reset his character. They had a clone of him from the 1980s
Huh.
version of Beast. Like, I shit you not. 40, 40 fucking years of Beast's comic book continuity has been erased for the sake of bringing back Beast to where he was.
Jeez.
Beast has been a villain, or has
Yeah.
done sketchy shit since the 80s. He
Jeez.
has been he has been going down this fucked up path for that long that they had to hard reset that far back. That means that even during the 90s cartoon, that was about the time in the comics that they started deciding that, yeah, he's going to start doing some stuff that he probably shouldn't be doing.
Right. Well, because it made him a
Like,
more interesting character, I'm sure. Like the,
it's true. I mean, but the
because
thing is,
the,
though, is they had an evil version of Beast. His name was Dark Beast. They had a version of the
right.
Beast. He came from the Age of Apocalypse
Hmm.
line. He was basically still Beast. He was just Beast brought to his full extremes. And
Right.
they brought him over into the main continuity. And when
Yeah.
he became more evil than Dark Beast,
Yeah.
that's when shit started to, that's when people really started to take notice. And for the longest time, people were even saying, it was like, well, this isn't Beast, this is Dark Beast doing all this shit. And so they showed fucking Dark Beast in one comic with his goddamn head in a jar, because Beast had fucking killed him and held on to it as a souvenir.
Yeah.
Like, they really made it to a point that this guy's beyond redemption. I have no idea why they did such a terrible character assassination to Beast of all fucking characters. Like,
Yeah.
like, I can get them turning some characters, like, maybe they have a disagreement here and there, but we're talking about fucking Hank McCoy here. Like,
Right.
I guess it's just, it feels weird seeing him in the cartoon and seeing where he is in the comics and seeing that weird fucking disconnect there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Because it's something where, because if you remember back to the cartoon, the character that he is there, like if they just suddenly turned him evil, it wouldn't make any sense. Because in that, because like
yeah,
he talks,
exactly.
he does that bit where, like, for a lot of the first part of the X-Men 97 TV series, he's in prison. Like he gets
Yes, and
caught during that first
the beast
raid.
that they added, or the beast that they put or they had come back now, it's the beast from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like, it's that beast, and that was the reason why they did that synergy. But
Yeah.
it's just they had to go to that extreme to kill
Yeah.
off the beast that they had already, because they couldn't bring that beast back to where the cartoon was.
Yeah.
Like, it's sad that they did that, like, in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
I feel so bad for, like, I don't know, like, if you ever, like, for people who actually were fans of Beast initially, like, they watched their character become, like Satan.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. The beast that you see nowadays um is a far cry even from like, because the original beast uh didn't have the whole blue fur thing going on. That was a more recent ad.
And actually, the
Yeah.
thing is that was like supposed. They say now that that was supposed to be like the first sign that you're supposed to tell that, yeah, maybe something actually is kind of up with him. Maybe he's not all a good guy entirely, anyways. Like that was
Yeah.
supposed to be like the first hint at that, or at least that's what they tried to get you to believe in the comics. Like that was his first real major
Yeah.
turn, and that was an accident.
Yeah,
Like
well, because
he
he was
was,
trying to make it to where he looked normal, and because he was self-conscious about his mutant
yeah,
features,
because he
because
was, yeah, 'cause he was born with those huge ass feet and hands,
yeah, because he
and
couldn't just blend into society like normal people, so or like most mutants, so he was just like, oh well, but but yeah, so you know so like I feel like adding that dimension to him where he wasn't just because the original X-Men series was very, very cheesy, generic cookie cutter, and I think a lot of people forget that type of stuff because people like to put Stan Lee on a platform or a pedestal and treat him and worship him like a god, but he did come up with all these characters, but he wasn't the one who made a lot of them like really popular. You know, like a lot of these characters that he came up with were decently popular when they first came out, like way back in the day. Uh, but a lot of them didn't really come into their own until other artists got a hold of them and really gave them soul. Because
yeah,
Lee's comic writing was very much, hokey 60s cookie cutter type, heroes. Like his whole thought process when he was creating the X-Men, like when he created Iceman, for example, he was like, oh, well, we have the Human Torch. Let's just do the opposite, you know? like,
yeah,
and he had the idea of, well, what if they're just born that way, like that whole thing, so
because he
like,
didn't want to have to write another explanation
yeah,
for
because
how they
like it was
how
always like, oh, they got splashed with radioactive chemicals or gamma radiation or radioactive this or radioactive that, and so you know it was getting old, so
yeah,
like,
it literally was a case of him not wanting to figure it out.
yeah,
Oh well,
but
I
yeah.
still like that.
Yeah, no, like the idea of just having people born that way, like humanity's evolving and progressing, that type of thing. That's great, like it's something where, it's been used in several different writers since then, stuff like My Hero Academia or, certain Image comics,
Yeah,
uh so, there's there's been plenty of people who've created those types of worlds in their comics because of that sort of
okay.
uh
Speaking, actually, you know what? Since we're actually on the topic of comics and comic book adaptations, uh, and you actually just mentioned Image Comics, even.
mhm.
So I've been watching Invincible,
Uh-huh.
and it's almost to the end of season two. We're
Uh-huh.
on episode 7 now. Episode 7 gets to a point in the comics that I actually I kind of thought was hilarious in the comics too, uh, where uh, where Invincible goes to Comic Con and
Mhm.
he meets the author of his favorite comic book, and it's he's standing for Robert Kirkman, the guy who writes Invincible, wrote Walking Dead,
Uh-huh.
um, but it's his stand-in,
All
and
right.
basically he's talking about the process of like what it takes to write comics and how long it takes to get it out, and all that shit.
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to see what they would do with it in the show. And of course, they instead switch up the dialogue, and now it's suddenly about like uh, how the process of animation works. And they're like taking or making a season of a show takes a really long time. Let's say it'll take about a year for the next season to come out, and then he's like, and they mentioned it's like sometimes if they want to save on animation, they'll cover or they'll only show the top parts of the face so you don't see their mouths moving,
Yeah.
or they'll shoot them from behind,
Yeah.
or they'll cover up their mouths. And while he's saying all this, that's actually what they're doing to save animation.
Right.
Or and then or he's like, and sometimes they'll get some other studio to make a frame or two, and it'll look like a completely different animation style.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking meta. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the best fucking moment in this show.
Right.
And it's such a good moment. And it's like it helps, like, for people who are outside of the loop. If you don't pay enough attention to like to your favorite cartoons,
Mhm.
it suddenly just clicks to you. It's like, oh, so this is why, like, this is why anime does, like, they do these wide pan shots. It's so that later on they can have a really awesome fucking fight scene.
Yeah.
Like, it saves budget.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what this whole explanation is. And it's just like, I love it they're doing that for people. Like, it's not just
Yeah.
for it's such a great meta moment. I want to see more things like that in my cartoons.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, no, like that was definitely something that you know, because yeah, and the thing is, I know a lot of these techniques from from my studying and whatnot,
yeah,
like it's funny because characters that wear like masks and stuff are often like a godsend to animators because you don't have to draw a bunch of mouth flaps because their mouth doesn't move,
yeah,
because it's just like they're wearing like a hard face mask, so you can just so it's funny because with Kakashi in Naruto, he's wearing a mask, but it's like a soft mask, and so they actually do have to kind of show his mouth moving a little bit, you know. So that's kind of funny. Yeah. But yeah.
I do. I do like that. I do like Invincible. Like,
Yeah.
that show does it keeps the comics pretty strictly. Like, the
It's good.
only times it ever seems to change anything is for the better. Like, I
Yeah.
haven't seen any changes for the show be like ones that they do to specifically piss off fans. I mean, except
Yeah.
for like the incels that deserve to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the female character survived this. She shouldn't have survived. It's like, well, I mean, it the character that they're talking about didn't have any fucking characterization in the original comics. It's better to have them survive. Like,
Yeah.
like shit like that. Like, it make it, and actually, I feel like it feels more impactful to have a character who's destined to die survive and have and come back later to have like an even more interesting story to tell.
Right.
Like, for instance, like in Walking Dead, Daryl
Mhm.
Dixon wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Daryl Dixon was supposed to be killed off really fucking early.
Yeah.
Daryl Dixon is getting his own spin-off because Daryl Dixon was the main character of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like, they struck gold there, and they
Yeah.
didn't they realized that if they'd gotten rid of him early like they had planned, that it would have floundered. Like, it wouldn't have
Yeah.
been as impactful like had they killed him when they planned to.
Right.
But they kept him around, and now he's important again. Like,
Yeah.
he is well, not just important, he is the Walking Dead.
Right. Well, it's like Sasha from Attack on Titan. The author for that manga wanted to kill her several times and before she actually died, but the editor kept talking him out of it. He's like, no, don't kill her yet. You know, and so by the time she actually died, she was a lot of people's favorite character, and it made her death like all the more impactful.
Right?
You know, like, because it's something where, you know, she's basically the comic relief, you know, but that's why she's so beloved, you know,
Yeah.
you know, because, you know, Attack on Titan can be a really kind of depressing and heavy series. So you have the one character that's bringing levity to all these situations, and then, you know, and then she ends up getting killed. And it's like, and the thing is, there are people like who just absolutely fucking hate the person who killed her, like, you know, like they're like, fuck that bitch, you know,
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
like they're like, nah, screw that, you know, like, and that's kind of the point, like, because there's like actually a scene where that the person who killed her ends up like having dinner with her family, you know, but like at the time she doesn't realize it's her family, and they don't realize that it's the chick that killed her, and then they find out later, and it's like, oh, you know,
Excuse me.
like, you know, and so that scene was probably would never have been included if he had killed her when he first if the author had killed her when he first intended to, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just something where because the editor was like, no, keep her in there, she's she's the best thing in the show, you know, or in the story, you know, like it was just kind of, you know, I don't know if they use that language, but it's, you know, but like I said, they kept convincing the author not to offer just yet, and then, you know, like when the author finally did, you know, write that bit, you know, bit about how she, you know, the editor was like, okay, now would be a good time, because that's a good way to give her death some impact, you know,
Yeah.
because with Attack on Titan, like, you kind of, you know, a lot of the characters, there's so much death early on that you kind of, you know, train yourself to stop getting attached to people after a while, you know.
Yeah, and actually that was kind of the problem with the Invincible comic books too, was,
Yeah.
you know, they killed off so many characters so quickly, and
Yeah.
eventually it became like kind of a joke, like a lot of characters were just disposable, like,
Right.
and so you would just see a character, you'd be like, oh, you can't really even get attached to them.
Yep, they're worm bait, you know, like, but yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of how Attack on Titan was too. It was just, you know, you start watching it, and you'd be like, oh, that looks like that character looks cool. Maybe they'll be, they're dead, you know, like, you know,
And it's gone.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're just sitting there, you know, and it's just that type of series. But yeah, you know, like when they did the anime adaptation for Bleach, and a lot of the anime onlys don't know this, but they actually changed a lot from the manga early on, and it was because the writer Kubo is terrible. And he couldn't keep his continuity straight even in chapter 1. You know, like, basically, so in the Bleach manga, the story begins, right, and they spend the first couple pages explaining how the protagonist Ichigo, you know, is special because he can see ghosts. That's his thing. Like, he's okay. He sees dead people. You know, sixth sense. You know, whatever. And so then, like I said, about 3 pages in, there's this scene where there's these, like, basically punks, you know, street toughs, you know, hood rats, whatever, and they're hanging out on a street corner, and there's a vase, like a flower vase that's been turned, that's you know, been knocked over, right? And, you know, Ichigo comes up to him, and he starts bitching them out for knocking it over, because that was put there because a girl died on that intersection, right? You know, like, is basically there to mark where this girl died in a traffic accident or whatever. So, anyway, he gets into like a scrap with these guys, and then at the end of it, he scares them off by showing them the disembodied bleeding spirit of the dead girl. You know?
Holy fuck.
And it's like, so he can show ghosts to other people then? You know? So it just made no fucking sense. So in the anime, he just beats the shit out of them, and they call it that. You know, like they run off because he beats the crap out of them. You know, and then and of course the girl isn't bleeding when he talks to her ghost either. Like, you know, she's not covered in blood like she is in the manga. So she's like, "Oh, thanks for doing that for me, Mister." And he's like, "Yeah, no problem." You know, so that little girl in the manga, she really gets the short end of the stick, and they really made it. They basically, all the changes that they made in that little girl's case were kind of for the, you know, kind of made her story a little happier, I guess. You know, because basically in the manga, she's being chased by a hollow, and in the anime, like the hollow's chasing her, but then it like senses something it wants to eat more and just leaves her alone. You know. But in the manga, like, you see the hollow like grab her by the head and just slam her head into the ground, you know, and it's presumably the hollow ate her, you know, like, but they didn't show it, you know, and the thing with a hollow is when it eats a spirit, that spirit becomes a hollow themselves. So, and I haven't read the entire Bleach manga, but I don't think she ever showed back up as a hollow later on, you know? So it's like, you know, because I feel like that would kind of be an important moment, right? You know, so, you know,
Yeah.
if they went back to that. But I think Kubo probably forgot about it because he's not a good writer. Anyway.
Of course.
You know, a lot of people think that Kubo is this god tier writer because of how he wrote some of the plot twists in Bleach, and it's like, you know,
Yeah, but then he forgot
he had
write
significant trouble writing his way out of a paper bag in chapter 1. So, you know, like his so one of the things with hollows in that series, like, you know, because they, you know, in that first chapter they explain kind of what hollows are and all that good stuff, and one of the things he explains about hollows is, you know, oh yeah, hollows, you know, are, you know, when they choose victims, they're interested in, you know, in getting more spiritual energy, and so they will attack people that, like, you know, other than, you know, because they start out usually by attacking the people closest to them, but once those people are dealt with, then they'll start branching out and attacking other people. And when they're choosing targets, they're going to go for people with higher spiritual energy, and those people can generally see them, right? So, anyway, so so after they explain all this, or after Rukia explains all this in the manga, a hollow comes and attacks Ichigo's house, you know, which is a clinic, you know, that they live in a clinic, so this hollow comes and attacks the house, and in the manga, this thing is mauling the sister that can't see it, and the sister that can see it runs upstairs to get Ichigo, and she's like, "Hey, something's going on down there. There's a horrible monster attacking our sister." So in the anime, they switch the sisters, so the one that can see it's being annihilated, and the one that can't is running upstairs to tell Ichigo, "Hey, something weird's going on down there," you know. Like, you know, in both scenarios, both sisters survive. It's just, you know, it's just that they had to correct one of the author's really stupid mistakes. like so in just the first episode of the anime, they had to correct like 2 or 3 different continuity errors. You know.
Yeah, that's very weird.
You know, so it's like, you know, just saying. You know, all these people who are like, "Oh, Kishimoto's the best," and, you know, all these other authors suck. It's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. You know,
you ought to be high off your ass after.
Well, you know, and a lot of people don't understand what the big 3 is. You know, because a lot of people keep referring back to the big three. Oh, the big three is Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece. That's the big three. Those are the three biggest and bestest anime ever. And it's like, no, that's not what the big three is. Those three were the highest readership comics in Shonen Jump at the time. Like that's and they would kind of trade that spot back and forth while they were all in publication. So they were all in Shonen Jump at the same time, and they were the most popular comics in the magazine. And they were that's where the term Big Three came from. Dragon Ball is kind of in a special category that supersedes all three of them, because when it comes to like manga readership and volumes sold and things like that, like Dragon Ball outclasses pretty much all of them. Mainly because it had a huge head start on all of them. Dragon Ball came out way earlier than, like, because it started in like the late 70s, early 80s, I think, as far as a manga. And
right.
So a lot of those other manga didn't come out until almost 20 years after Dragon Ball did. And because of Japan's declining birth rates and aging population and declining population, they basically while One Piece and Naruto and Bleach were being printed in Shonen Jump, they literally had no way physically to meet the same readership numbers Dragon Ball had. Oh, nice shiny Skarmory thing. Congrats. Nice. So, like, they literally physically did not have enough people reading the magazine to match Dragon Ball's readership numbers. Because Dragon Ball was the most popular manga when it was running in Shonen Jump, and the readers it was pulling into the magazine were insane. And like I said, there just weren't enough people in Japan even to match Dragon Ball's numbers at that point. Oh, wow. That is really good.
Pretty cool.
Doge. But anyway, as far as total volumes, Dragon Ball has way less volumes than One Piece or Naruto or Bleach. It didn't continue for as long as any of those did. But the as far as total sales, it's comparable to any of them, because it's been around so much longer that there's been more people that have had the chance to buy it,
What do you think's going to happen to Super?
So with Dragon Ball Super, it's tough to say. I don't know what Toriyama did or did not do as far as leaving behind a writing outline or whatnot. Some authors are meticulous with their note taking, and they will craft out an entire freaking story before they ever put pen to paper. I don't think that that's Toriyama's style. I think Toriyama kind of flies by the seat of his ass a lot when he writes. So that means that he may have not left anything behind. It's also possible though, because he's working with.
This technically means then, that Dragon Ball Super ends with Frieza Black winning.
Yeah, like here's the thing. There's, because with Dragon Ball Super, keep in mind there is a manga for it, and the artist that was drawing it. Yeah, right. But so the artist that was drawing the manga, he was working very closely with Toriyama. So it's possible that him and Toriyama discussed what would happen next in the plot at least a little bit. So there's always a possibility that they discussed it enough to at least get the current arc done.
I would say Super would be a perfect ending if, Frieza were the final boss, because it was their biggest arc in Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm. But
it would be kind of nice to revisit that, I suppose.
But yeah, because when Toriyama made the decision to end Dragon Ball, he talked about it numerous times, but he said that the main reason he decided to call it quits wasn't because it was waning in popularity or anything like that. He said it was getting harder to write because he just didn't have any ideas as to how best to show off a character's power when you've already gotten to the point where they're blowing up planets. You know, he's like, how do I show how powerful this guy is other than because like I said, blowing up planets is old hat at this point. Like, we had people blowing up planets right at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, basically. So that part of the manga. So he just kind of, he even said, that like once you got to like the Android saga, a lot of it was just talk. He didn't and even with the Frieza saga a little bit when he had the power levels, that was how he was expressing differences in power between characters, because he, after having Vegeta being an enemy who could potentially destroy a planet.
Somehow, though, he managed to find a formula that everybody enjoyed.
Right? Yeah. No. Like, people still enjoyed his writing, but what I'm saying is that he was struggling.
No, I mean, but how did I want to put this?
But he talked about how he didn't really like Vegeta at first, and then he found that he was really useful to have around. Yeah. No.
Vegeta made a whole ass archetype.
But yeah, so when in that
type of character now in animes and video games, like Vegeta is the reason Shadow the Hedgehog exists.
Right. But so that episode where Vegeta blows up planet Arlia, that's a filler episode. It's not in the manga. That whole adventure on planet Arlia with Nappa and Vegeta, that is not a canon event.
Vegeta.
But yeah, remember the bug planet, Vegeta? Anyway, but yeah, no, none of that was canon. It was a filler episode. It's one of the better filler episodes. Don't get me wrong, but it's still a filler episode. And basically, the reason it was done was to kind of show what kind of a threat that they were dealing with. But because they, that filler arc in the Saiyan saga, they did a lot to kind of hype up the villains. But yeah, it was just kind of crazy though, like the way that they, the way that they did the Dragon Ball Z series, because it's like, they literally did 3 episodes and then immediately went into a filler arc, and it's like, bruh, go on. You could have spent your hiatus. You could have gone on a longer hiatus between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. I'm just saying, like, give the damn manga some time to generate some fucking content.
Yeah.
Like, and then they got to the Frieza fight, and they stretched that out for 30 fucking episodes or whatever it was. Like the fight was not very long in the manga at all. Like,
how did that old joke go? Or how does this joke go? It's how many Super Saiyans does it take to screw in a light bulb? Only one, but it takes 5 episodes.
Right. But yeah, I remember seeing a thing. It was on Newgrounds, I think, but it was making fun of that fight from Dragon Ball Z. It had like pixel art Goku and pixel art Frieza, and they're just standing there staring at each other, like, they're doing like their idle animations or whatever. And it's like, and it's basically like the narrator is like, he's like, will Goku's eyebrow twitch? Will Frieza move a little bit to the left? Find out on the next exciting episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Anime staring contest.
But yeah, just. But like you said, it's one of those things where he because by the time he got to planets being destroyed, he'd been writing that manga for years already, and it was about halfway through the overall manga series he was writing, but like that's kind of the arc that they chose to split things up and be like, okay, we're going to change to a new series now, involving Goku, because we're introducing Goku's son and all this stuff. So they're like, yeah, well, this is a good idea, a good time to do that, because
Yeah.
the fear at the time was that Dragon Ball was supposed to be a shonen anime at the time, and by that time in the manga, Goku had grown into a full-grown ass man. And shonen titles are meant to be coming-of-age stories about the journey of growing up from boyhood to adulthood. So having the protagonist being a grown-ass man wasn't exactly shonen anymore. So that's why they tried to shift the protagonist to Gohan, because they were like, oh yeah, we'll just follow Gohan around, and he's the shonen in our shonen anime now, but
Man.
but people didn't like Gohan because he was a freaking whiny ass little 5-year-old at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the fucking Gohan
Yeah.
arcs are my least favorite parts of Dragon
Yeah,
Ball Z.
but like a lot of the fans didn't really like him. But he kept teasing that, oh, he's got this hidden power, and then that ended up becoming like a running gag, because it was like, oh, Gohan's got a hidden power buried deep within him, and Piccolo's like, I'll teach him to bring out that power, and he's like, throws him like a football and all this other crap, and then they get to Namek, and Guru's like, oh, I can unleash anyone's hidden potential, even yours. Let me unlock your hidden power, brr.
So
like,
if he
and-
unlocked his hidden power, if he actually did unlock his potential back then why didn't we get Beast Gohan sooner?
right, exactly. So it's like, oh, so he unlocks his potential, and Gohan puts up a decent struggle against Frieza and all this other shit, and then like then they get to the Cell Saga, and it's like, oh well, if you train with the Z Sword, we can unlock your hidden power. It's like haven't they already unlocked it like at least once? Like,
At least once.
At
least once.
Like, they just keep he's how many locks you got on that shit? Z Sword was boo, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, they kept. The point is that it kept coming up. Yeah, but like it kept coming up. Goku was like, "Oh, I'll train you in the room of spirit and time so that you can." Yeah, and we'll turn teach you to do Super Saiyan and whatnot, and then when you unlock your hidden power on top of that, then you'll beat Cell. Yay!
I still think the
Fucking
greatest
stupid.
fucking moment. I still think the greatest fucking moment though in Dragon Ball Z
Mhm.
was the moment when Trunks spent all that time in the chamber, training his body and everything.
Right.
And he's like fucking jacked, and he's all fucking proud of himself. And he goes up in the fight and everything, and he's like, all you did was train your body. You didn't train anything else. And it's like that fucking moment where just realization. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, like Cell basically, Vegeta realized the limitations of that form, like the super form with the buff muscles and everything, because like, Trunks thought he had surpassed Vegeta in the training room, but they weren't training together; they were training individually. So if he had seen, if he had trained with Vegeta, he would have realized that form's weaknesses a lot sooner. But since he didn't have an actual opponent and he didn't have as much combat experience, he was just kind of, going based on, oh, I'm stronger now. This is good. I'm strong. Like, so. So he just kept plowing ahead with his training and fighting with that huge bulky body, and it's just but like I said, Vegeta realized that going bigger would make him take a speed hit, so he focused on learning to fight with the slightly smaller version. Like it's less powerful, but it's a lot faster. So yeah, and Cell was like, you just made your muscles a bit bigger, and anybody could do that, and he does it. It's like,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, so it's like Frieza had, I think, some of the best build up with because Frieza had a lot of build up time as a villain. They spent a lot of time, getting you like building up to that fight, because Goku wasn't even on the planet and Frieza's just bullying everybody and like all this other crap. And then the when they get to the Cell saga, Cell isn't even around for the first part of it. It's just it's the Machine Men saga at the beginning, and then Cell shows up kind of later on and does his horror villain arc.
Right.
and then you finally get to the fight, and and like I said, a lot of people didn't really like it because it was Goku basically trying to pass the baton to Gohan, and Gohan's like, I really don't want it, Dad. So just that type of thing. But yeah, and then they had the Boo saga, and Boo as a villain, Boo was just crazy, and then they had and then it looked like it was going to wind up as a peaceful resolution, as with the way the character was developing, and so they did the whole that's not the real Boo, that's Boo that's been mellowed out by combining with a bunch of soft-hearted people, and this is the real Boo is this monster, but then you get to the real Boo, and he has no personality. He's just this little ball of hatred that that wants to kill everything,
Yeah.
So it's just so that's why everybody looks back at Frieza and goes, that was the best part right there. Just because basically Cell and Boo both had their own little horror villain arcs, and and Frieza wasn't really a horror villain. He was just bullying people, like, and it was very satisfying to watch Goku just beat the shit out of him, like, and because that was what everybody had been waiting the whole arc for, after watching Frieza's just bully everybody, and just Goku coming in, just slapping him around as a Super Saiyan, and plus
the scene of him getting slapped around.
Yeah, and plus, keep in mind, this was over halfway through the manga. Like there was a ton of water under that bridge by the time we got to Super Saiyan, so it was a huge deal. Like, now Goku's transformations are like candy. He eats he gets a new form every freaking few episodes. Like, but back then that was a radical idea, having him change into a different form to fight Frieza. And Toriyama, basically he said that the whole reason that they started hyping the legendary Super Saiyan and all this other stuff was because of the like, he felt like he had built up Frieza so much that there was no way Goku was going to beat him without something that extreme happening, so yeah, it's just really interesting the way that they sort of set that up, because it really is a interesting situation where they kind of went in and said, yeah, we're gonna do this, because like, other than that, like, Toriyama once said in an interview, he's like, my characters transform when my editor doesn't like them. You know, so like when he would transform characters like Zarbon and Frieza during the Frieza saga, it was because, and even Cell is because the editor didn't like the character design, and he's like, yeah, these guys suck. You do something different with them, you know. So so I always thought that was kind of funny, you know. But yeah, like because basically when the editor didn't like a character, it was either okay, either make him transform or kill him, that type of thing.
Sometimes both.
Yes.
Sometimes both, yeah. So, but it was still funny. Yeah. But yeah, like I do think it's funny how because the thing with Vegeta that makes it so interesting, like as an observer, is Vegeta's situation is not unique in Dragon Ball at all. At least on the surface, because most of Goku's friends were hostile towards him at first, in some way or another. Uh,
Yeah.
Like Bulma when she first meets Goku, pulls a gun on him. Like
Yamcha was a rival for a while.
Yamcha started out as a bandit, and he found out about the Dragon Balls, and he was trying to steal the Dragon Balls from Goku and Bulma for a while.
Krillin was
Goku's training rival.
He's his rival from the start.
But yeah, Oolong was basically a con artist / bad guy in general, and Goku had to beat the crap out of him. And Bulma actually gave Oolong a special medicine that made him have to take a shit anytime she made a specific sound. So that kept him in line, like. So like that, like so yeah, and then Tenshin Han and Chaozu started out as students under a different master that was like Master Roshi's rival, so it's like it was like his was the Roshi's is the turtle school and theirs was the crane school, and that's actually where the flying technique Bukujutsu comes from, was from the crane school. So Tenshin Han is the first character that you see like flying around. Tenshin Han and Chaozu are the first characters that you see flying around in Dragon Ball, and then everybody else just sort of copies them. So because Bukujutsu was originally introduced like it's like an airwalk technique where basically you're just using your ki to stay in the air, but eventually it was expanded on to the point where they're just using it to provide thrust while they're flying, like so. But yeah, like when you first see it, I think it's like at one of the world tournaments, and Tenshin Han's just using it to stay out to avoid getting knocked out of the ring, but yeah, like I said, there's just the different things going on like that, so like I said, but most of Goku's friends and acquaintances started out as his enemies, and then he kind of won them over later, so yeah, it's so Vegeta from that perspective isn't that unique, but the difference is that Vegeta just remained Goku's rival after that, like because the villains that show up after Vegeta like all end up dying, and then it's just Goku and Vegeta again as rivals. So it's interesting from that perspective, and Toriyama said that Vegeta was very useful as a storytelling tool. Like because he said at first he didn't like him, but as he wrote more and more of him, he started to really appreciate his utility as a storytelling tool. And So because he has abilities similar to Goku's, so he can put him up against people, and it makes it easier to see like where the villain stands, because they fight Vegeta first, like so,
Yeah.
you know, so if Vegeta just goes out there and slaughters them, then it wasn't worth Goku's time in the first place. And if not, then maybe it's because there was something, maybe there's something to him, and need a, so yeah, it's just it's interesting. I like I personally like that a lot. The way that even the author didn't really think much of Vegeta at the time, and then he's like, oh wait, this is actually
It's actually
this is
kind of cool.
this is actually maybe a good thing that he's there. So
I made something good on accident.
yeah. Well, and that's the funny thing is that if you think about it, because if Toriyama had been left to his own devices, and because a lot of Toriyama's series, besides Doctor Slump and Dragon Ball, are just like one shots. You read one Tankobon volume and they're done. So things like Sandland, Jocko, Kawa, Nekomajin, those are all incredibly short manga series. But uh, and Dragon Ball almost had that, like, because Toriyama was thinking about Dragon Ball being like that. He was, he had a clear story in mind, and he was going to end it after they found the Dragon Balls and made a wish, and that was it. You know, but it was so popular that they're like, nah, you got to keep going. And then then when he was doing the Demon King Piccolo arc, everybody's like, oh, he's going to end it after this one. Everybody was speculating, oh, this looks like the end. How is he going to top this? And so everybody thought he was going to end it after that one, and then he didn't, and then the Saiyan saga happened, and so it's just crazy how there were a couple of points where people thought that the series was going to end, and then they just kept going and got better, like, but yeah, the Demon King Piccolo was a great arc. And like, honestly, that's really where, like, the first arc where you get to see adult Goku and all that stuff, like, because but a lot of people don't know it because they didn't watch Dragon Ball. Like, a lot of people that claim to be like Dragon Ball super fans, they only watch Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super, and they just didn't watch any of Dragon Ball original at all. But there's some
See,
great stuff in there.
It used to be one of those shows that would show up every Sunday morning
Yeah.
on I don't even remember what network, but I'd watch it every fucking morning. That's how I got my introduction to the Dragon Ball universe.
Yeah, because I actually my first foray into Dragon Ball was with the stupid Kid Mark dub, and I at the time Dragon Ball was airing at like 5 in the morning on Sundays or some shit like that, like some ungodly hour where nobody in their right mind is awake.
It wasn't that early for.
Yeah, no, but that's the way it was. That's the way it was here, like where I'm at, and it was the Kid Mark dub, and I ignored it because I didn't know what it was. I just saw this thing in the TV guide that said Dragon Ball, and I'm like, what is that? Some kind of weird sport or something? Like, I'm thinking like freaking Quidditch or some shit, and
That's kind of the same way how I imagined it. I was like, wait,
yeah.
is this some kind of like.
Yeah, I thought it was like some kind of fantasy sport anime or some shit, or fantasy sport series. So I was like, how's that work? So I just ignored it for a while, and then a friend of mine showed me the Curse of the Blood Rubies movie, and I was like, oh, this shit slaps. And so and of course it was the Kid Mark dub. So basically, after I saw that, I got into it, and I ended up collecting like literally all of the VHS that they released for it. you know, because they put out, I think it was like 6 different VHS for that, and it was because the Kidmark only dubbed the first 13 episodes. That was it. They dubbed the first 13 episodes and the Curse of the Blood Rubies pilot movie. And it was funny because when they merchandised for it, they put out a figure for Krillin, and Krillin doesn't show up until episode 14. So, so Kidmark never dubbed that episode, or if they did, they never released it to the, so it never wound up on television during the Kidmark run. So they had this figure for a character who on shelves that wasn't in the show. You know,
Great.
so because basically
That'd be
they had
a hell of a collector's item nowadays.
yeah,
like that.
well, they only had 3 figures at the time. They had a Goku, a Yamcha, and a Krillin. You know,
No, I mean
But yeah.
that Krillin figure would probably be worth a bit now if it didn't even show up in the show, but still representing the show.
yeah, well, because
Like,
that's the thing. He showed up later on, you know, when the Dragon Ball got a proper dub from Funimation after they picked up the rights. But yeah, when at the time when Kidmark dubbed it, they only did the first 13 episodes, and you know they're like, oh man, for some reason these having these networks play the show at 5 in the fucking morning isn't making the show catch on. You know,
Wonder why that is.
wonder why that happened. So you know,
why is this happening?
yeah, so it's just like some of these people, some of these networks, because that's the thing, is a lot of these anime that were coming out in the early 90s, they were showing up on network television, and they were in the worst possible fucking time slots. Like they would just put them in the dumbest fucking, like, so Sailor Moon was weekday mornings at 5:30 where I live.
6:30 over here.
Yeah.
Right before fucking school.
Yeah, so weekday mornings, 5:30 in the fucking morning.
5:30 was
yeah.
it was 5:30 was
Yeah.
what was that one? The one with the armored guys.
Oh, Ronin Warriors.
Ronin Warriors.
Yeah, see that one we got at the afternoons, so that was all right. But then we would get we would get Dragon Ball at 5 o'clock in the morning on Sundays. We had later on when the Pioneer dub for Dragon Ball Z came out, that was like 10 o'clock on Sundays. So it was 10 a.m., which in some ways was an even worse time slot because here in Oklahoma, that's when everybody's at church. So so it was 10 a.m. Sundays, and then at 10:30 they would play Tekkaman Blade, but the U.S. localization Technoman.
You guys had Tekkaman?
Yeah, we had Tekkaman Blade. The U.S. adaptation was called Technoman, and it was pretty bad, but like the Technoman dub.
With a name like that, I can imagine why it wouldn't have caught on.
Yeah, the Technoman dub. The problem with it was the English localization team. Well, I say the problem like there weren't like a billion of them. So one of the major problems with it was the English localization team decided to take advantage of the fact that Tekkaman's face has like a mask on it, and so his mouth doesn't move when he's talking. And they decided to make him a wisecracking, funny guy like fucking Spider-Man.
What the fuck?
And that fucker is an emo. Like he is depressed as shit, and he's got all kinds of emotional baggage. Like he's serious as a fucking heart attack in the original version, and they tried to make him like, ha ha, let's crack jokes all the time, ha ha ha, oh my god, yeah, no, so that was like one of the things that they fucked with, and then of course they took Rabin, who is let's see, you know, how to put it. Rabin is, I think, trans. Or at the very least, like Rabin's like sexuality is very interesting because it seems like Rabin is more turned on by robots than people. so, so Rabin's very attracted to Tekkaman, but not so much the guy inside of it. You know, you know. So that's a thing. Uh, but basically, they when they did the dub, they just changed Rabin's name to Maggie, and and they're like, yeah, that's a chick, you know, just a very flat chested chick, you know, you know, because Rabin is in the show is a mechanic, slash tech person, and you know, he slash she wears overalls and lipstick and you know, like, so, you know, he doesn't like dress, they have short hair, so they're not like super feminine, you know, like they're but you know, but Rabin still does the whole, you know, like the higher pitched voice thing, you know, where, like, you know, the guy trying to make their voice sound feminine thing, and you know, they're an interesting character for sure. There's an episode where Rabin is, you know, basically talking with this woman who is basically like masquerading as a man, you know, and they're kind of lecturing them on, you know, like being true to themselves and all this other stuff, you know, but like it's funny because Rabin's actually like attracted to her, you know, you know, uh, so yeah, it's like I said, Rabin is a very interesting character in that show, but the way that they handled it in the localization, they're just like, oh yeah, no, it's just another chick, it's fine, you know.
Another girl. Yeah.
You know,
Another girl.
but yeah, just, you know, there's because yeah, and then, oh yeah, then the names, the other names. So the main love interest in the series, I think her name is it's like Ray, I think, in the Japanese version. I might be misremembering that. And then the guy that's kind of her partner on the team, that's kind of always flying the ship with her. His name is Noel, right? Um, or Noel, you know. Uh, so in the dub, when they did the Technoman dub, they changed their names to Star and Ringo. So Ringo Starr, like they've just you know, I don't know why they felt the need to change their names to name them after one of the Beatles, but they did.
Yeah,
uh, but yeah, you know, but yeah, they I don't know, it was weird. It really was. And then of course it was one of those things where they took they gutted the original score and did a new one. Uh, so that's the thing. That's something that they did a lot with anime of that era, but a lot of anime, a lot of people that localized anime weren't didn't really want to do that. So so instead of making a bunch of new songs, they would just reuse the original ones. So like Pokemon did that. You know, they changed the opening theme around, but they still kept the original score, which, in a lot of cases in Pokemon, the score for a given season was just varying tempo versions of the opening theme. So so you had that repetition going on because I remember watching the Pokemon Gold and Silver anime, like the English version, and you'd hear that line, that there'd be like a battle scene or something, and you'd hear that that part of the score that was is based on the opening theme for that season is like dun, 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 da, 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 like because and the thing is, I remember that part from the Japanese version of the opening because that part's in English. It's like golden sun and silver moon, da 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 da. So they would do that bit in the score, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, but yeah. So, well, like I said, it's something where that was something that a lot of anime, like I know Sailor Moon kept a lot of the original score, but they also did a bunch of their own shit to it. Like the Deke dub for Sailor Moon was just atrocious in so many ways. Like, but yeah, you know. Anyway. All right. It's after 3 in the morning. I think it's probably a good time to call it.
Yeah.
I pretty much got this part done.
Yeah, I'm on the last part of the. I'm at the fisherman's
nice.
house right now, which
Yeah.
is like the last area I wanted to get to. Once I finish that, I'm done with Mabe Village, and then I'm gonna start working on all the interiors. And then you can walk through Mabe Village like any other place in Minecraft, which is really cool.
So yeah, I think next time I'll go ahead and come back and basically finish this background. I want to add some more hearts and some more of the little pink parts coming up and everything, but
looks gorgeous though.
Yeah, I think it looks.
Happy Easter, guys.
Yeah, happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
We'll
Happy Easter.
Yeah, we'll I'll be back sometime later today with a Baten Kaito stream, I think, but
yeah.
Should be fighting Wise Man. That'll be fun. So
if the distant encouragement doesn't continue.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's one of those things where I should be getting close to the end of the game now. Because basically I've done all the return matches with the stupid Machina Arma. So I've done that part. I just need to go and deal with Wise Man in the past, and then go back to the future and get the end game rolling. So.
Yeah, hopefully.
So yeah. Fun times. No, really. All right. Well, so we're going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks, everybody, so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. We'll be back to do this again next week. And, of course, as always, I do hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.
Good night, guys.
This is the way it had to end.